Hey, it's Scott Barrett. We're a little bit late, but we're here for another episode of The Burning Truth. And last night's NXT took over the legendary ECW Arena in Philly, and let me tell you, it was packed. We had hardcore vibes, surprise returns, and action that had the crowd on fire. If you thought NXT couldn't get any wilder last night, definitely proved otherwise. More exciting than the US election. The night kicked off with a brutal hardcore match that brought out ladders, chairs, and one of ECW's own as a special guest referee. This one had the Philly crowd going nuts, and it really set the tone for a night full of chaos. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happened in the opener. Then we had a massive throwback moment as an ECW legend challenged for the North American Championship. The crowd was eating it up, and the energy in the arena was like stepping back into ECW's prime. Moments like this don't happen very often, don't happen every day, and we're breaking down all the details. And the biggest match of the night, the 10 women tag match main event, and let's just say the division keeps proving why it's the best in wrestling right now. Prove me wrong. The NXT women's division is the best in the world. 100%. Every competitor has something to prove, and the drama here is only heating up. There's one particular showdown we are dying to see after this match. So hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and buckle up for the breakdown of every shocking, hardcore, and nostalgic moment from last night's NXT, because this is the burning truth. And we're just getting started. So let's ring the bell and dive into the action. We started with a hardcore match between Jaida Parker and Lola Vice. And who did we have in this one? Well, it was already announced. We had a special guest referee in Dawn Marie, yeah? They kicked off the show with a hardcore match. I got a great reaction from the Philly crowd, and so did Dawn Marie. I was a bit surprised that they opened with this one, given the build-up. And I mean that in a good way. It's a great build-up. We've really been hitting this one hard over the last few weeks on NXT. Both Parker and Vice, they look like absolute stars. It was fun seeing them step out of their usual styles and to do a hardcore match. And this show needed a strong opener, and it absolutely delivered. I almost criticized a few things on this show. The first one being that this match was first, but on reflection, it was a great idea. And I also nearly criticized the decision to have mats around the ring at the ECW Arena. That didn't feel very ECW, but I'll let it slide, and only because they had those old ECW style ladders, which really amped up the nostalgia for me. I was an ECW watcher way back in the day, so yeah, loved that. Dawn didn't really have much to do in a match. It was a hardcore match. She was there to count the three and just to be there, but I think it did add a little bit of flair to the match. The match itself was wild. The brick spot, so we had a spot where Jaida Parker hit Lola Vice with a brick. It was a gimmicked brick, and it was a bit hokey, obviously gimmicked, but it was a fun way to start the night, and Jaida Parker got the win. So I'm happy all round. Yeah, and again, we talked about 10-on-10 match main event, and this is the opener with two more talents from NXT women's division absolutely smashing it. If you love women's wrestling, watch NXT, because it is, what's the word? Special. Special is the word. We then got some backstage antics. We saw Ethan Page and Ridge Holland by the Rocky statue in Philadelphia, because that's where the ECW Arena is, putting aside their title ambitions to focus on the tag team match for tonight. We also had Rob Van Dam giving Kalani Jordan some veteran advice. They can both stretch their legs, is what I got from that, until Kalani Jordan disappeared, and Wes Lee blindsided Rob Van Dam, which was a bit of a shocker, and it looks like Wes Lee and RVD are now on a collision course. I mean, RVD and NXT, bring it on. I'm here for it. I love it. We then got another surprise appearance backstage. It was probably our first surprise of the night, actually, but a night full of surprises. And the first surprise of the night was that backstage, Nunzio, or you might know him as Little Guido, showed up backstage and challenged Tony D'Angelo for a match for the NXT North American Championship tonight. I absolutely love this. I thought it was brilliant. Great use of using a veteran. And it was a great throwback for the ECW crowd, or the local crowd, the Philly crowd. And it added another big match to the lineup. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Another big match. We then moved on quite quickly into the Javon Evans and Wes Lee match. So this was announced last week. And it was really high energy. The two put on an athletic display, big moves like Evans hit a Hurricane Runner off the top. Wes Lee hit a brutal brainbuster on the steel steps. And just when it seemed like Lee might take control, RVD showed up and distracted Lee long enough for Evans to hit a cutter and a really impressive frog splash to secure the win. RVD's interference, it teased more to come with these. So RVD and Wes Lee going forward. And I loved it. The crowd loved it. And anytime you get to see RVD on TV is good times. And Wes Lee versus RVD, yeah, I'm totally here for it. Let's put Wes Lee over. Let's make him look like a star. And again, my favorite thing on NXT every week, Javon Evans totally delivered. This guy is going to be a star. We need to get a Javon Evans, Carmelo Hayes, and Montez Ford triple threat series happening, because that would just be absolutely phenomenal. I'm absolutely 100% up for that. Before we continue with the rest of the review, I just need to let you know that Wrestling Fans, big news, episode 345 of the Burning Truth podcast just dropped. This one's packed with jaw-dropping stories you don't want to miss. My co-host Matt Burns and I are tackling the biggest wrestling bombshells, and let me tell you, this week's episode was stacked. First up, we are diving into Goldberg's retirement plans. That's right, he's gearing up for his last match and with WWE, and we think we know exactly who his opponent might be. If this match happens, it could shake up WWE like never before, so you won't want to miss our take on this. It's not just retirements. WWE recently made some massive roster cuts, letting go of some big names. We're breaking down the possible ripple effects and what it means for the future of not just the WWE, but beyond the WWE as well. In this week's Buried Alive segment, we're taking on one of WWE's most controversial moments. In fact, it's probably one of the most controversial moments in wrestling history. I can't reveal too much on here, but this one was a classic moment that fans still argue about to this day. If you love drama, this one's for you. Me and Matt Burns had it out on this because I didn't think it was that bad, and he's really got to be in his bonnet about it. And it's not just retirements. And it's not just about Buried Alive. The wildest part, Matt Burns also threw me a surprise rebooking challenge. I had no idea what storyline he'd pick, and I had to rebook it on the spot. It's unpredictable, it's crazy, and it's probably one of the best yet, although it really took Matt for a spin. If you're not already subscribed, hit that button, turn on the notifications, and catch episode 345 of The Burning Truth, available now anywhere you get your podcast and on YouTube if you subscribed to this channel. You don't want to miss it. Next on the NXT show, we had Ava's big announcement. So the NXT GM Ava was out to announce that at NXT Deadline on December 7th will feature the return of the Iron Survivor Challenge. Iron Survivor, we'll talk about that in the weeks coming, and I think we're going into really some more detail about it. But Mr. Stone, who was there as well, got plenty of heat with the classic anti-Philly promo. He was in the ring with Ava, which then led to a surprise appearance. Lights went out, lights came back on. Who's in the ring? Rhyno, who hit Robert Stone with a gore and an absolutely huge pop. So that was really good. We then got a backstage segment with the babyface women's team for tonight's 5-on-5 match. So Kalani Jordan, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Zaria, and Jordan Grace were backstage talking about their main event match with Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. They were interrupted then by Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. Just let me get my words right. And they just come off that impressive showing at Crown Jewel. So they were in that tag versus tag versus tag versus tag for the WWE Women's Championship at Crown Jewel. And I think it's nice to see them still in NXT. If they go up to the main roster, I don't think they'll get as much airtime. So bringing them back to NXT for a little bit going forward isn't a bad thing. And this promo just sort of hinted at tensions for the future, and it built up the stakes for the 5-on-5 match later tonight as well. And it, just a reminder that huge match is coming in the main. And I'm surprised it was the main, and I'm surprised this wasn't the main, because the next match happened to be then the tag team match between Bubba Ray Dudley and Trick Williams versus Ethan Page and Ridge Holland. And Yeah, I was surprised to begin with that this wasn't the main event, and I'm not mad that it wasn't, because the women's division is stacked, and actually, when we get to the end of the show, it'll probably prove that they made the right decision. But this tag match still was the perfect blend of action and nostalgia. Trick Williams has become weekly must-watch for me, and Ethan Page too, to be fair, equally. I've really enjoyed their feud, and I'm really enjoying those two when they're on the television in general. And then there's Bubba Ray Dudley. So he came out in his full WWE Dudley Boyz camo gear, and he looked great, to be fair to him. Bubba gave where he needed to, and he took just the right amount for the nostalgia, and he bought some classic Dudley Boy vibes and spots. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Ridge Holland. I've said this a few weeks on the trot now, and seeing him get a sneaky roll-up win over Trick was a bit annoying. The idea of a long-term Ridge versus Trick Williams storyline doesn't exactly thrill me, I'm not going to lie. But we'll see how it unfolds, and maybe he'll make a believer out of me. The best thing about this, after Ridge Holland got the roll-up win, was the post-match brawl. Trick hit the wada with Bubba, which was a lot of fun, and I've just done wada on TV in 2024 or on YouTube. And then Bubba Ray pushes Trick, and he says, "Trick, get the tables." And Trick goes and have a look for some tables, and he goes under the ring, and there's no tables there. Sad. There's no tables under the ring. So we get the Dudley Boyz music, and boom, here comes D-Von. D-Von Dudley's coming out. And why is he there? He's there because he's got a table. So he comes to help out with the table, and that's all good for everyone. So D-Von gives them the table. They do the table spot. Everyone goes home nice and happy. And it was a perfect nod to the legacy, I think. And it sent the Philly crowd into a bit of a frenzy as well, which is really good. You got the whole ECW bit, Dudley Boyz. It was just really nice. So following that, then, we're moving on swiftly, because after this, we got the surprise match, which was Tony D'Angelo versus Nunzio for the NXT North American Championship. Now, Nunzio looked fantastic in this, right? I don't know how old he is now, but it was great to see him, and he looked absolutely brilliant. It was a classic, gritty ECW energy that he brought to the match. The ECW Arena was a perfect place for him to step up for a title challenge. The crowd loved every second of it. Tony D'Angelo impressed again. I'm a big fan of his now after the last few weeks. His mix of confidence and charisma, the Italian pride, really makes him stand out for me. I'm a big fan. And at the end, Nunzio and Tony shook hands after Tony D'Angelo got the win, kissed each other on the cheek, and raised the Italian flag together as one big happy family. And that was a great moment of respect and celebration and all the rest of it, added to the charm of Tony D'Angelo's character. And it was nice that Nunzio was there. It was really nostalgic. It was really good, and it's definitely one to watch for me, that is, this week. And I know it might not be the sexiest match on the card, but for the nostalgia factor, for how much I enjoyed it, yeah, absolutely. Nunzio versus Tony D'Angelo. We then got some backstage segments, and they were sort of like boom, 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 boom. We got William Regal and Lexus King having a heartfelt moment, with Regal wishing King good luck in the future. And then when Charlie Dempsey arrived, Regal told Dempsey that he'd be watching him. A subtle and effective way to use that father-son dynamic on screen, and I really liked that, and I wonder if we're going to get any more Charlie Dempsey, William Regal in the future. We then got Nikita Lyons in like a pre-taped package sort of video that confessed to attacking to Adriana Rizzo and promised to put her down again in a one-on-one match next week on NXT. So something to look forward to next week. We got Nikita Lyons versus Adriana Rizzo. We then got Ava, who ran into Axiom and Nathan Frazier, and she let him know that she'd be addressing the entire tag division next week. So who knows what's happening with the tag division, but there's definitely something happening next week, and Ava's going to let us know what that is, our NXT general manager. A graphic then confirmed that next week as well, we're going to get the NXT Women's North American Championship rematch between Kalani Jordan and the new champion, Fallon Henley. And in the crowd, we got a glimpse of Francine, the OG Queen of Extreme. So again, a nice nostalgic touch again for the ECW faithful at the ECW Arena. And NXT is the spiritual successor to ECW for me. It's dirty, it's a bit gritty. I mean, it's not. It's well produced by WWE, but it feels ECW. Yeah, and I really like that. I always feel like NXT now is what WWE ECW could have been if they'd done it well. And they didn't do it well. They did it terribly, and that's how we ended up with NXT in the first place. But yeah, I always feel like WWE NXT is a bit of a spiritual successor to ECW or to WWE ECW. And that brings us really well to the main event. So this is an all-star match, and I am calling it the best women's division in pro wrestling. Prove me wrong in the comments. Kalani Jordan, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia Zaria, Jordan Grace facing off against Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Jasmine Nix. Each woman got her moment to shine, and Zaria secured the win by pinning Roxanne Perez with a massive woo, boom, F5, staking her claim as a future contender. And this is it now. So she's put down the NXT champion and the NXT North American champion in a few weeks. She hasn't pinned them both, but she has put them both down with F5. So this match was, it was probably match of the night. And I know if I was for nostalgia, go back and watch Nunzio versus Tony D'Angelo. But for the match of the night, watch this one. It was busy, but it was never messy. It showed exactly why NXT's women's division really stands out. And let's not overlook the new four horsewomen of NXT, Roxanne, Cora, Julia, and Vaquer, leading this generation forward. I actually went to WWE Live in Nottingham on Tuesday night, and there was a tag match, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And I love Chelsea Green. I like Piper Niven. And they were against Michin and B-Fab. And Michin's okay as well. Suffice to say that match was a real letdown on Tuesday night in Nottingham. Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, Michin and B-Fab, real letdown. And this smashed it out of the park. If you're going to watch any match this week, watch Tony D'Angelo and Nunzio. But then after that, watch this. Because this was fantastic and a fantastic way to use the women, and it's why NXT's women's division is so good. What I would say is, why aren't these 10 on the main roster, and we're bringing people like Michin and B-Fab and probably Chelsea Green and Piper Niven back down to NXT to sharpen up a little bit, because this was this really showed what's possible. Absolutely. So that was the 10 women tag teams match. Zaria looked really strong as the 5-1, putting it over massively, aren't they? In NXT so far, so I'm expecting big things going forward from here. And that is my review of NXT at the ECW Arena this week. And I think, if I'm going to say anything about NXT this week, I would probably say that it was full of nostalgia. It was full of care and attention and love to the past, but also to the future. And I would also say that it was really good fun. And because of those three things, it's probably going to be the best wrestling show this week on TV. And I probably wouldn't have said that before. I might have been like, oh no, I think SmackDown will be really good. No, this week, genuinely, NXT is probably going to be the best show. And I'm saying that because the nostalgia, the fun, and the love to the future, because that's what it had in spades. And that wraps up today's NXT review. But don't be sad. Get ready, because next week, we're back on Tuesday nights, and that means I'm back on Wednesday morning, and it's already looking intense. I'll be back here with all the highlights, so make sure you subscribe, like the video, and get ready for another wild ride. We've got the rematch for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Kalani Jordan tries to take back that title from Fallon Henley. This one's got everyone talking, and the NXT GM, Ava, will also be addressing the entire tag division, so who knows what we're getting there and what rivalries will heat up. Plus, we're finally getting Nikita Lyons versus Adriana Rizzo after all the backstage drama, and William Regal may be watching his own son, Charlie Dempsey, closely as he faces whoever he'll be facing next week. So some serious family tension potentially there. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can find us on Twitter at TBT Live UK, Instagram at The Burning Truth, Facebook at The Burning Truth 2. Catch all our episodes and the NXT Live reactions here on our YouTube. All you need to do is press the subscribe button wherever that is, and you'll get all that. We've also been doing PLE predictions videos as of this last PLE for Crown Jewel. So we're doing more and more on the YouTube. If you're enjoying these two, let me know. I could always start doing it for Raw and SmackDown. We're sort of up in the air about what we're going to do with that yet, but we're looking for suggestions. If you guys want to see them, we'll absolutely do them. And if you've got any questions or further ideas, comments below, or drop us an email, info@theburningtruthuk.com. Again, I'll say it one last time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave me a review. It really helps spread the word. And do you know what? I want to do this as much as I can and as well as I can for as long as I can. So please help me spread the word. And don't forget to check out the website, theburningtruthuk.com, for all the latest updates and Matt Byrne's AEW blogs. Until next time, stay positive, keep enjoying the wrestling, and I'll see you Wednesday morning next week for another Burn Truth NXT review. Excelsior.